Everyone, if you're new here, my name's Allie and welcome to my channel. Today I am once again participating in the Look for Less challenge. This challenge is hosted by Yami the Latina next door and co-hosted this month with Kat from According to Kat, and basically they're challenging us to recreate something from a higher end store for a fraction of the price. So what I'll do is link it down in the description, both of their channels, along with the playlist of other participants in this challenge, so you can check out and see everything that all of these amazing creators are making for this month. So last month when I participated, I recreated 3 anthropology decor items, but this month I decided to tackle something that's a little bit bigger, or at least a little bit more time consuming and tedious. I want to recreate this Urban Outfitters planter that costs $39 if you were to buy it from the store today. It's such an easy thing that you could DIY because all you're really going to need is some material, some macrame string, of course a plant, scissors, and a sewing machine, though I think you could probably also get away with just using hot glue or hand sewing this project as long as your plant is not too heavy. So if you take a close look at this planter, you'll notice that the pot is actually made out of a canvas or duck cloth material. So I've actually had this canvas in my fabric stash from a previous I Can DIY That video, which I will link to. It is one of my favorite ones that I've ever made. Also Urban Outfitters themed if you want to check it out. So I'm going to use this to create the pot, and yeah, that's going to be very simple. Let's get cutting. So to make the fabric bucket part, I'm going to measure around the widest part of this plastic plant with my little fabric tape measure. My plant comes in around 19.5, so I'm going to measure up to 20.5 inches when I go to cut my material. Oh, and I almost forgot, I also have to measure the height of this planter so I know how big to cut this. So mine is about 5 inches. I'm going to add a 1/2 inch for a hem at the top and a 1/2 inch for the hem at the bottom, the seam I mean, and that would be 6 inches. So I'm going to do 20.5 by 6 inches. So now I'm going to make the base of my planter. It actually seems like way too big. Admittedly, I should have probably done a little bit of math. Since I didn't, I decided the next best thing would be to take my planter, the pot, and just trace it onto the material, then cut it out. The plastic bag is here because there's soil on the inside, and I just don't feel like cleaning it up, so I'm just doing the easy solution. So once I have that circle, I'm just going to cut about a 1/2 inch out around it to make the base of my planter. So now that I have my sides and my base cut out, it is time to break out the sewing machine and sew all of this up. So first up, I'm going to sew my 2 sides to create a circle. And all I'm going to do is fold the material in half, line it up, and stitch down. I'm not even going to pin it for this one. I will pin when it's time to attach the base. So I forgot that I totally need to hem this raw edge, but luckily since it's not all sewn up yet, and really at this point it's not too late, I'm just going to fold this under about a 1/2 inch, pin it in a couple spots, and then sew it up. Now that I have my hemmed little tube here, I have my circle. So we're going to attach these together and sew them up. So now that I have my funky little hat, or maybe it's a fabric planter, it's time to do the macrame part. So I got myself some twine that matches the fabric on my little DIY'd planter here, and I'm going to be making a series of horizontal half-hitch knots, which I just learned how to do moments before starting to film this video. and I'm gonna try to teach you guys, but I will also link in the description down below the video I followed to learn how to do this. To start out, you're gonna need one length of your twine or macrame cord to wrap all the way around the planter. So I'm just gonna cut at 26 inches of string, give or take. It doesn't have to be perfect for this piece, but you do just want to make sure you have more than what you need. So now that I have my string taped down, it's time to actually put on the string that you're going to need to make these little triangles. So I definitely recommend cutting a lot more than you think you'll need. So once you have your string, I actually ended up cutting 11 pieces. So now what we're going to do is just attach our little string in loops to our base piece of twine. I believe this is called a lark's head knot, but it's a very simple knot. I'm just gonna start, I'm gonna loop it over and then take my string and pull it through. And now I'm just going to repeat this until I have all 11 of my strings on the base. In order to show you how to make this knot, this horizontal double half hitch knot, I'm going to scale up using full-size macrame cord. That way you can follow along and kind of see what I'm doing with this model. So you're going to want to take one piece of string that will be your leading rope, and you're going to lay it across all of your pieces of cord or twine. So then what you're going to do, and the first knot is the most difficult one just because you're kind of latching onto a loose rope that kind of moves around. So what you do is you take your first string, you take it up, around to the back of your leading rope, so you can see that here, and then just take the little tail, stick it through there. And basically all you're creating is a little curly Q around your rope. So you can see this curly Q that has formed. Now with that first curly Q nice and pulled tight, you're going to take your little end piece here, again up over the top of your leading rope, around the back, and through the little loop on the bottom, and pull it tight. Now moving on to the second cord, you do the same thing. You go up, you go around to the back of your leading rope, through the little loop that you created here, and pull it tight. And we'll do that one more time to lock it into place. Up, around the back, through the loop, and pull it tight into place. So once you have one row, you're going to take your leading string, your leading yarn, and kind of put it way up here, so that way you don't touch it. And then you're also going to take your two end pieces like this and put them up at the top too. That way they don't get in the way, because you're going to start your next row, because we're forming a triangle. You're going to cut yourself some leading rope, and let's begin again. You have one of your triangles done, you're just gonna have to repeat this until you fill up your whole string. I don't want to eat up more footage, so I will be back when this is done. After you complete your macrame triangles, you have to make the way to hang this. So I've made 4 bunches of the twine, so on each bunch I will have one piece of string that I had cut to 6 feet and folded in half, and then another piece that I cut to 15 feet and folded in half, because the shorter pieces will be your leading rope, while the other ones will be like your working rope as we do these knots. The very first thing you have to do is take every single one of them and knot them all together to form one bunch. To make a spiral square knot, I already did one just to test it out here, but what you need are your 2 longer pieces on the outside and your 2 shorter 3-foot pieces on the inside. So you're gonna make a 4 with the left string that goes over the 2 short pieces and underneath the long right piece, and pull that over. Now you take your long right piece, you go underneath the string that made the 4, underneath both of your short pieces, and out through the loop of that 4. And then you take both ends and you just pull them up. Now you're going to repeat that, and every time you do it, your 4 is going to go in the exact same direction. Once you finish your spiral knot, I just added another little knot at the end to secure everything together. Now we're going to create 2 small ropes that will be combined into 1 bigger rope. So I'm just going to start by wrapping all of these pieces together. You have your 2 little separate ropes. We're just going to braid them together into 1 larger rope. I just secured my rope off at the end with a knot. That way it wouldn't come apart. What I'm going to do is make sure the 4 points of this rope are evenly spaced on the planter by doing this folding in quarters method. And I'm just using hot glue. You could definitely sew all of these pieces, but I figured this is probably the easiest way to do it. And for extra security, I cut a thin strip of the canvas fabric. I'm going to just cover that with a lot of hot glue and kind of bridge it across the knot to hold everything in place. And now I'm just going to repeat that for the other 3 ropes. So now we're going to pretend like I have completed all of the macrame that I need to go around this planter. Unfortunately, I ran out of time for my filming process and only got 4 of the triangles done. So starting with some glue right in the middle and finding my 2 middle triangles and lining them up. And now I'm just going to work my way around the line of the planter. You'll notice a lot of excess string on this project, so I'm going to, now that it's hanging, just use some sharp scissors to give this all a nice little haircut. So the piece is complete. I have already hung it up in my apartment so that I could style it. But before I get to that final reveal, I have to tell you how much I spent to make this project. So let me pop the original picture back up on the screen. Again, if you were to buy this planter from Urban Outfitters, it would cost you $39. But I was able to make it with some easy supplies plus a little hot glue. So let me tell you what this totaled up to be. So for the twine or the macrame string that I used, I paid $6.39 and I have plenty of leftover, which is fantastic. And for the material, I can't remember how much I paid when I originally bought it. It came out of my fabric stash. However, I'll just say that it cost me around $4 to buy that material originally. So that means if I add the cost of the string and the cost of the material, that would make the grand total of $10.39. So with knowing how much it cost me, let me show you the final result. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I am loving how this planter turned out. Of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, I have linked in my description the playlist for the Look for Less challenge, as well as both of the hosts. If you'd like to see any of my other videos where I have recreated more expensive homeware items, then I will also link that playlist below and up above in a card. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any time I post. Now, thanks so much for watching this video. I am so glad and thankful to have you guys here, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye!